With that, I'll call to order the public hearing for Tuesday, September 13th to hear about Bylaw 2016-13, Stewart Creek Phase 3 Land Use Boundary Adjustment Bylaw. Administration. I beg your pardon?
Point of order, can I say a word? In connection with this public hearing.
It can't wait till the public submissions?
No, sir. I'd like to memory to be going back to September 4, 2014.
Take the mic, Mr. Kendi.
Thank you very much. I'm a little bit slow because I had a shot on my neck. That is a cortisone shot. So nobody wanted to shoot me yet, unless you're going to. I'm glad that I be here and you received and you're listening to my point of order. I believe this bylaw had the first reading on August the 16th. I wasn't around all the time, but I went back very carefully with all the papers since, and I could not find anything else except the announcement, detail or otherwise, short or long, on a common page where you're talking about town of Kenmore, service teamwork menus. I talked at 2 o'clock again to Edmonton, Planning Advisory Board department. I can give you the planners and the department head. I think the notice of this meeting was insufficient. I spoke to the staff of members of municipal affairs and found out that according to the Municipal Act, a notice must include a legal address. When there is a land use bylaw amendment to redesignation parcels or anything to do with development or land use or size or anything of that nature. 606, the Municipal Act is dealing with it, as well as 692, 4, and other paragraphs as well.
Okay, so...
This here is not sufficient, not legal. Nobody knows what it is. It is a menu of what we're going to do, but not about the public hearing. Therefore, I've been advised to talk about that, and this means notice that to follow the letter of act and it required a new public hearing. So therefore, I respectfully ask you again to adjourn in camera as you done last time and come out with your very legal and knowledgeable conclusion before we get into one more trouble at further authorities with this item as well.
Okay, thank you. Ms.
Thank you,
DeSoto?
I was going to say that our administration has a response to that.
Mr. Fish?
There we go. Okay, first I'd like to introduce myself. This is my first time presenting to you guys, so I'd just like to do that. I'm Marcus Henry with Planning and Development, so I'm sure this won't be the last time you'll see me up here, but our response to this is that through the MGA section 606, we actually have the option to do like hand deliveries of a notice of a public hearing, and that's exactly what we've done here. Here is the actual notice that we've hand delivered to all the adjacent areas applicable to this land use amendment. We have a list of addresses as well. So everybody within the immediate area was given this notification. These were hand-delivered last Thursday. So we have abided with the MGA as per section 606, subsection B, I do believe it is.
So could I see the MGA section again?
Yep. So section B there. Focus rates. Where it says, mailed or delivered to every residence in the area to which the proposed bylaw, resolution, or other things relates, or in which meeting or hearing is to be held. Important to note with that as well, there's not a set requirement as to when this has to happen. It just needs to happen before.
So the MGA allows two methods of providing notice, and
Correct.
the town has used the second method, number 2B.
Correct.
Okay. Excuse me, Mr. Kendi. Thank you. Given that, I'll proceed with the public hearing. Councillor?
Can we please go back to section
Yeah.
606.5? And I'm sorry, I'm just I could read half of it. I just want to make sure I'm not. And must be advertised under subs at least 5 days. So those were delivered last Thursday?
Yeah.
So Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Good. Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Given that it meets the terms of the MGA, the public hearing, we'll proceed with an administrative briefing.
Great, thank you. This item was last brought to you on August 16th, 2016, where council provided first reading to the bylaw 2016-13, known as the Stewart Creek Phase 3 Land Use Boundary Adjustment. It is now being brought back as scheduled for the public hearing. The intent of this land use amendment is to bring the previously approved bylaw 2014-14 into conformance with the approved subdivision application, which was SB 2014-015. The approval of this subdivision resulted in the shifting of residential and open space property lines. This land use now addresses the misalignment between the lot lines defined through the subdivision process and actually ensures that the appropriate land use districts are being applied to the correct parcels of land. That concludes my presentation, and I'm available for any questions you might have.
Thank you. And the applicant has a presentation? Yes? And we'll look for questions of clarification from council after hearing the applicant.
Hello, Mayor Borman, members of council. My name is Jen Giesbrecht. I'm from Quantum Place Development, and I'm the applicant. I'd like to speak to this application. I think Marcus covered most of it, but we just wanted to mention that this land use bylaw amendment really is a cleanup to ensure that the correct land use district is applied to the appropriate parcel. So the proposed land use bylaw amendment matches the intent of bylaw 2014-014 and remains consistent with the policies outlined for the area in the municipal development plan and the area structure plan. I'm available for any questions that you may have, and Jessica Carpat is in the audience and she can speak to your questions as well.
Thank you. This time, are there any questions from council for clarification? Seeing none? Thank you both. Then I'll move to public submissions. Invite members of the public to speak if you so choose. Take the mic, please. Speaking in support or opposed or in neutral?
Neutral.
Neutral.
I have a question on what was put up by Alaric Fish about the public hearing, about 5 days, the advertisement. Did that happen? I don't
Yes,
know. Where was it advertised?
to the neighbors as per the MGA.
So it wasn't advertised in the paper?
No,
Is that the way it normally happens?
that's in the MGA, Municipal Government Act.
And what about the procedural rules of the town for public hearings? What does our,
It meets all of our guidelines.
okay.
Do you have a question or a
No,
position? Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Is there anybody from the public that cares to make a submission specifically to the bylaw? Mr. Kendi?
Well, unfortunately, I didn't have sufficient time to read the whole of the 606, but we can take out sentences here and there wherever we want to. In any event, that the mailing out to the neighbors is addition to the advertisement. In the case of
I'm
amendment,
sorry, Mr. Kendi, if you
so
question the...
therefore I am opposing the whole process. And on public hearing, there is involving process and essence and the meaning of the subject matter what we're discussing. And therefore, I think the process is faulty. It's faulty in a sense that if it's a public hearing, and if the government specifies where and how and what is a public hearing is all about, is very specific on it. And we are expecting the public involvement, not necessarily because they are neighbors, but because we are in a learning, and lots of people are learning the process. And by coming to a public hearing, they could learn what this thing is all about. So, on the top of that, the head of the planning department did not at all mention the subsection 692.4, which I've been advised about. So in any event, what I am getting at, the mailing is a part of the advertising of the consultation with the public. The first in the process is the advertisement. Because in this instance, and when we have big, huge public hearings in front of us, and the representative is here, the public should come and learn what this thing is all about. At the present time, as many other things, this council does not want to listen, doesn't want, so therefore I'm not here to criticize the council, but unfortunately,
Mr. Kendi, you are, and you're out of order. I'll ask you to sit down. You don't have anything specific to... The question was raised, does this meet the terms of the MGA? The answer has been given, yes, it does. If you have some input on the actual terms of the subdivision, that's what you're here for. But to criticize our process or council, pardon me? I'm wondering, did you look at the information before coming, or did you speak with anybody in planning and ask them questions? Do you have any idea what the subdivision's about?
I have some data,
Yeah.
but I have to tell you what my idea is when I'm going to read the process, so therefore I'm hoping that it's going to be postponed or closed and a new public hearing be called, just as you've done in September.
Because at that time... Okay, I don't want to argue with you, Mr. Kendi. I'll ask you to sit down. Yeah, well, we're arguing right now. Are there any members of the public that care to speak to the bylaw? Seeing none, I'll ask if there were any written submissions.
We received no written submissions.
Are there final administrative comments? None? which case I'll move the meeting be adjourned. Those in favor? Opposed? Or adjourned?